Hey everyone, Gio here from Fandom United, back with another reaction. We have our boy Cosmic Wonder with more information about Spider-Man No Way Home and how it ties into the Loki TV series. I guess if you haven't seen Loki, you probably want to watch it because it's going to heavily tie into Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So if you're ready, let's check out the video and see what else there is to find out.
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, and Loki Episode 3 is only a couple of days away, where we're expecting some pretty big reveals. Loki has already given us plenty of things to talk about, including the multiverse, different variants, Secret Wars, Kang, all very, very exciting subjects that I will be talking a lot more about, but today I want to talk about how Loki actually sets up Spider-Man No Way Home, and how not only does it give us more evidence of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man showing up along with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but it actually explains kind of how they're going to show up. And of course, not only is Loki going to affect No Way Home, but it's also going to affect Multiverse of Madness pretty much the same way it affects Spider-Man No Way Home, so this video really is about both, but I'm gonna try to keep the focus on Spider-Man. Also, my Marvel chair giveaway with Andaseed ends in 10 days, so click the link in the description down below so you can enter. Now, if you haven't seen Loki Episode 2, I will be talking about spoilers, specifically around the different variants of Loki. And we are starting with the spoilers now.
When we get out on the branch, we're not just looking for a time criminal, we're looking for a Loki, a variation of this guy. A type we should all be very familiar with because the TVA has pruned a lot of these guys, almost more than any other variant. And no two are alike. Slight differences in appearances, or not so slight. Different powers, although powers generally include shape-shifting, illusion, projection, and mind
not so special anymore, Loki.
So in this very clear and very obvious scene in Loki, we saw different variants of Loki. The first Loki was a Loki as a frost giant, which of course he truly is. The next one was a very sporty Loki. And then we got a Hulk version of Loki, which even confused him himself. His last run-in with the Hulk wasn't exactly pleasant.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Never gets old.
Puny god.
But the bottom line of the scene, and the main point of this, is to show that all Lokis don't exactly look alike. They look relatively similar, but not necessarily 100% the same. Now, there's actually so many different variants of Loki that Mobius says there are many different ones, almost more than any other variant. And he specifically says no two are alike. There are slight differences in appearances or not so slight differences in appearances. Now, this answers a question that some fans have been asking about Spider-Man No Way Home, about Tobey and Andrew showing up, and that is, they don't look alike. They're not going to actually be the same Spider-Man. They're going to be different. And the answer to that is actually both yes and no. No, they aren't the same because they are indeed going to be from another universe. But yes, they are. They are the same in the fact that they are Peter Parker and they are Spider-Man. Mobius even goes on to say that the powers can also differ. And this explains another key difference in one of the Spider-Men that we're going to see. Specifically, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. See, all three of these Spider-Men have pretty much the same abilities, the classic Spider-Man abilities, except for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. His Spider-Man actually produces organic web, and he shoots them from his arm instead of a web shooter. And these differences have just been explained. What it seems like they're doing here in the Loki series is setting up the future to not have that many questions or confusion about what is happening. In Loki, they are establishing the multiverse, which I'm about to get into, and they are establishing that not every version of the character has to look the same despite whatever character it is. Even Loki has female versions of himself. So not only can the characters slightly differ, but they could be a completely different gender, and they can be a completely different being, as we saw him as sort of a Hulk. So Loki Episode 2 set up different variations of the same character that look different. So we can have thousands of different Loki who are still Loki but look different and have different abilities, much like we're going to have 3 different Spider-Man who look different but kind of have the same abilities. All still Spider-Man. This could also set up a female Peter Parker, which they could do. We haven't heard any rumors or news about that. I would probably rather see Jessica Drew or Spider-Gwen, but hey, who knows? With the multiverse, anything is possible. And what happened in the last episode of Loki? The multiverse went into madness, and Loki escaped from the TVA and followed the female Loki, so we know that there's going to be a conversation between the two of them because we've seen it in a trailer. We don't know what they're talking about, but we can probably assume that Lady Loki is going to somewhat reveal her plan to our Loki. Now, with her setting the multiverse into madness, it of course sets up Multiverse of Madness, but it also sets up Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, we're not really sure of what's going to happen with this sacred timeline in the Loki series. Right now, the TVA has been dispatched to try and fix all of these different time branches, but we know that once the Nexus point crosses the red line, they can't go back. They can't undo what has happened, and a branch timeline has been created forever. I'm sure the TVA is going to manage to erase some of them before they hit the red line, but since we do have a movie called Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home is going to deal with the multiverse as well, I'm sure not all of those different branches are going to be deleted. In fact, I'm not even sure if the TVA is still going to be left standing by the end of the Loki series. I'm definitely thinking that Kang is somewhat in charge of the TVA right now, but we'll see how that plays out. Got a big theory about that coming either tomorrow or the next day. But we know that the supposed focus of our Loki is to take down the Timekeepers, to overthrow them. Loki doesn't like the idea of somebody else controlling his destiny. He doesn't like the idea of fate. Even though, ironically enough, he was the one that wanted to control everybody because he said it's easier for them. Yet the guy himself has a hard time being controlled. So I guess it's not really easier. But he's going to take down the Timekeepers anyways, or at least he's going to try. And then Lady Loki clearly has a plan to get rid of the TVA. Because although she is different and seems to be quite superior, she is still Loki. Which means she is also going to struggle with freedom, with fate. So by the end of the Loki series, I think these two Lokis might actually take down the TVA, which means there could be thousands, millions, billions of different timelines created because there's going to be no organization or timekeepers or anything to stop the timelines from being created or erase them when they are created. And this is how we're going to get Spider-Man No Way Home. This is how we're going to get the different variants of our Peter Parker.
Makes sense.
Marvel is kind of putting this right in front of our eyes here, setting up Toby and Andrew to appear in No Way Home. The multiverse will be in madness, and these are just going to be different variants of Peter Parker. And then supposedly we're going to be seeing a lot of different variants of a lot of different characters in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. One rumor that I've heard that I personally really hope is true is that we're going to be getting different versions or variations, we'll say now, of Captain America, of Iron Man, of Black Widow, a bunch of different characters played by actors who could have played them. For example, John Krasinski could show up as a variant of Captain America. Tom Cruise could show up as a variant of Iron Man. Emily Blunt, a variant of Black Widow. I think this would be pretty cool to see since those characters could have played those roles. That was a possibility at one point in time. And if we kind of want to try and speak somewhat realistically, if the multiverse was real, there is a reality that exists where they actually got those roles. And that is essentially the reality that we would be seeing in Multiverse of Madness. And then of course, I am always crossing my fingers that we could dip into the timeline or the different universe or multiverse where the Fox universe lies, and we could see characters like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Patrick Stewart's Professor X, and Ian McKellen's Magneto. After all, Patrick Stewart himself confirmed that he met with Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, to talk about some future endeavors, but we do know that Patrick Stewart said he's done with Professor X, so we know he's not really returning as Professor X, but in Multiverse of Madness, to do a quick cameo, that's not really him returning. That's not undoing his death from Logan. It's just a quick little fun cameo. So I'm crossing my fingers for that, although it's not confirmed at all. So don't act like it is. But this is how Loki sets up No Way Home in Multiverse of Madness, and they're doing it right in front of our eyes. They're starting to set it up to where everything is going to make sense when we eventually get to No Way Home. We won't have a lot of questions, it won't be that confusing because they're going to get rid of all of that confusion right now in Loki. Different variants are established and the multiverse will be established as well, and Spider-Man Far From Home will make complete sense. But go ahead and let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, and for live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter.
Wow. This video got me thinking about possibilities now as far as Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I mean, again, I've said it many times. I'm with the dude here. I think we're gonna see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. That's a lock. Okay, I'll put money on that. But now I'm thinking about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And who else we could see? Tom Cruise's Iron Man. That'd be crazy. I don't know about John Krasinski as Captain America. I mean, that'd be pretty weird. And then introduce him as Mr. Fantastic, which is something we all hope is going to happen. I mean, they'd be a fool not to do that casting. It's so perfect. But yeah, hey, the possibilities are endless, man. And who knows? Maybe we see Edward Norton's Hulk and Terrence Howard as James Rhodey, although I doubt it. Well, you guys leave me your thoughts on who you want to see, which variants you want to see pop up. I'm curious what you think. And yeah, it's going to do it for me. Thank you for joining this reaction. Gio here for Fandom United. I'll be back with more videos throughout the week. Until then, you guys take care. Be safe. Have a good one.